What about you, Alex? What's your why?
Man, I mean, I chose hope. I mean, one, it's my favorite word. Um, and I don't know if everybody has a favorite word, but I mean, it's certainly mine. And I think like, for a therapist, especially, when I was primarily doing that role, seeing kids sort of finish counseling, you know, we always had, a sense that, they've accomplished their goals. We try and keep it as, objective as possible, that, they can do these things, they can identify these coping skills, they know what to do if they get triggered. They've been through the trauma narrative, they've been able to process through everything that they've experienced. We have to kind of have the faith that, when they're finished with counseling, that they're going to be able to just kind of go on and be okay. And I think that, the vast majority of the time when we do, finish up with kids in the counseling environment, we have that feeling that they're going to be okay, that they're ready to go. They have the tools that they need to be successful and to be happy at the end of the day. And, especially as counselors too, we don't really have the luxury of, being able to, call them up like 5 years later and just check in and say, hey, how are you doing? Because, we have to kind of keep that level of distance, which I think is, obviously very challenging for, all of us. But we have to have those kind of professional lines when we're working with children and families. And but that definitely doesn't stop people from sort of reaching out to us and then kind of, unsolicited, letting us know about kind of how they're doing. And I had one client in particular, from several years ago, back when I was at the old window washing office. And, we were together for a while, and, she had been through some pretty intense abuse, that was really hard for her to process. And, I had to be very patient. I had to really, really, we talk a lot about therapeutically about meeting kids where they're at, and, kind of going at their pace and letting them take the lead, kind of like you were mentioning, Sarah, letting them sort of be the guide. And, we were going, at a compared to some other kids, like pretty slow pace, but it was the pace that we needed to go, in order for this kid to get where, they needed to get. And I mean, it was incredible to go from, you see this kid at one point who is, acting, or I shouldn't say acting, but, just really, really triggered by certain things, like in sessions where we needed to like just break into some, breathing exercises, or, somebody who would hyperventilate just because they got upset about something, and we'd have to kind of talk through that and walk through that in sessions, to then being somebody who could pretty openly talk about what happened to them, and not feel ashamed, and feel empowered by what they experienced. And, I'll never forget sort of that last session. What she said to me was, the last thing she ever said as she was walking out is, "This is weird," because we had been working together for like such a long time. And, one of the things that I felt was, we obviously can't accept gifts, but this client, painted a picture for me that I have hanging in my office. And on the back, it just says something about like, "Thank you for helping me in my time of need." And, certainly like I didn't get into counseling for the gifts and the art projects from kids, but it's always nice to have, to know that you had an impact, on somebody, especially I think in those moments where, that you're kind of like setting them free into the real world, and you're not going to be a person for them, in the way that you were before. And, it was really cool because just about, I don't know, it was 2 months ago, it was in February, I just got an email out of the blue from, this client from, 5 years ago now, since I had seen them, just to kind of update me on, what she was doing with her life. And I just thought that was really, like, that was not something that was necessary. And I remember, going down, I was in the basement of my house and I got this email and, I recognized the name and I was like, oh, this is weird. Like this doesn't normally happen. And I just like broke down. I don't know what it was, but it was just like, I don't know, it kind of encapsulated everything that we're about at Small Talk. Like, I think the thing that I kind of go back to all the time is we get to facilitate hope and restore hope for people when they feel like they don't have any. And to see this kid who had none at the time of the forensic interview, and then to know that like now she's going on to do really successful things and she's happy and healthy, just to get like, I think confirmation of that is just, again, like one of those things that helps you continue to do the work that you do. And I know we all have stories like that where, there have been, plenty of people who have, sent messages to us or, done things for us that have just been really remarkable. And it's certainly not the reason that we do any of the work that we do. But it's always just great to see the growth that kids have when they go through this process, as difficult as it is from the very beginning, all through the entire journey. And we know when we finish up with kids that it's not the end of their journey either. They, in most cases, they just have the tools to be able to make it through. And, I think if we can do that, minimally, we're doing a really good job.
Well, and it's not every day, Alex, like you said, that we do hear about like how clients are doing after they're done with us. And so the fact that like she thought, I want to let Alex know, like 5 years later, I feel like it's just such a testament to like how connected she felt to you and how supported she felt by you. And that's just like very inspiring. Like I had chills when you were saying that. And I think it's just really cool that, you were able to get that update and that she felt so safe and like comfortable with you.
Yeah, no, it's incredible because I think you miss that. I think, whenever we have clients, I think we're always curious about like, I wonder what they're doing now or if they're doing okay, especially if the longer that you have and the more clients that you see. But I think there's always that just level of hope that, they've done the work in treatment, like they're going to be okay. And then to have some sort of like, as little as it is, some kind of like tangible proof that all the work that, they put in is, bearing fruit, I think is just like the coolest thing in the world. It's so great.
Thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, of course.